And we're on.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and I forgot that I hosted this episode.
Fuck, I hope you host this show, man. Get used to it.
Well, I am your host, as usual. I already pressed the wrong button. ALANNIS Maximus.
Yeah, you got two dinosaurs on the screen. What the fuck's going on, bro?
Yeah, no, it's the regular Jurassic Park here. You're scared.
Alan.
Anywho, I am your host, ALANNIS Maximus, and this is my co-host, TOMYE, who I don't have an animation for yet, but I'll make one. And we are talking about the last two episodes of The Last of Us series by HBO, or as people call them in the Bronx, HBO.
I think that's what they call it. I think that's what they call it everywhere, man. I don't know.
Oh, really?
But I like your way better. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, me too. I mean, rolls off the tongue.
Hobo.
What does that even stand for?
Hobo.
Ah, hobo.
Hobo.
Well, here's bullshit ostrich.
Well, you went way further with it. I was just thinking hobo as a homeless person.
Ah. Hobo bastard ostrich. That's what it is.
With his fucking little with a knapsack that's like on the stick or whatever, that, you know? Hobo. Hobo.
Yes. Yes. Really. I just full screened the Facebook feed and lost everything. It was bad. It was like a delay. I'm like, I'm not saying things. Yeah. So, without further ado, and before I cock this up anymore, how did you feel about the second last episode of The Last of Us?
Yeah, so for everyone that's tuning in or going to tune in, we're covering the last two episodes of the show, as we were we have already recorded the episode for the second last show, but we decided, because of how busy we were with Scream and things like that last week. 1 second. My fucking dog, I tell you what. Anyways, we were busy with Scream last week, so we didn't have time to get it all done. What is wrong with you? We didn't have time to get it all done, so we're going to go on both episodes. Let's start with the second last episode before we get into the finale, yeah? So, I thought it was great. I thought it was another continuation of what we like from the show. I thought it advanced the plot further, and I thought it was pretty faithful to the PlayStation brand. I believe my score for it was... Do you remember this, ALANNIS?
Your score for this one was 47. 47
out of 50. And so, as you all know, we average that out. We get 50 points each. We average it out to a rough score of something out of 100. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I really liked the second last episode. I really liked the show as a whole. I'm not really disappointed in it at all, but that's, again, because I don't have really big expectations for it. I'm not the biggest Last of Us person, even though I'm a PlayStation fan. Don't get me wrong. The show's great. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoy the show. It's just I'm not a zombie person. I'm not not zombies, infected person. I'm never really loved the games, you know. But I'm a PlayStation buff, and I'm very pleased to hear. That everyone likes it, and pleased to see that they did it justice. So yeah, the second last episode was more of a continuation. I do have more to say on the finale than I do the second last episode. What about you, ALANNIS?
I dug the second last episode. It sat, I think, nearly as good as episode 5 to me. It was a solid episode. Could have used, as all of the episodes, could have used a bit more, like, fun guy, or as they call them, not zombies. Could have used more not zombies, but not humans, not zombies. Yeah, worked that one out. Could have used more of those, but I dug the kind of new 2-episode sub-villain cannibal guy. I actually think, from what I've seen of him from the game, which I haven't played, but I've seen played, I think the casting was actually better than the character design for the game. He was actually way seedier in the show, I think. Like, he just looks like an average guy in the game. But in the series, it's like, oh, you might not be dodgy, but you look dodgy. And he was dodgy. He fed people other people and called it venison, which, I mean...
I don't know if you're reading the chat. I just have a joke. I just fucking drilled you, bro.
Speaking of which, there's some news that developed I was reading the other day that apparently that episode is anti-Catholicism or anti-Christianity. I'm like...
Which episode?
The second last episode, I'm like, you are missing the point so very far there if you say that. And like the dude actually says, he's like he goes on about God, but then he pretty much alludes to it that it's a front. Like it's cordyceps that he's kind of admires, not God. And I don't know.
Look,
Maybe
man. Look. I'm so fucking sick of this woke bullshit, bro. Like, if it was about Catholicism, who gives a fuck anyway? Don't watch the show. If you don't like it, if it offends you, fuck off. Simple. Like, I'm so over people getting offended over nothing. Like, dude, did you hear the latest thing? Like, I'm just sorry, this is a side thing, but I can't help myself. They got upset at the lineup of a music festival. I think it was.
Yes.
Did you see this? It was Reading Festival or something. Glastonbury. Not enough female people on the lineup. I can guarantee you that the organizers of this event did not even think about that when they were looking at the lineup. They were like, Elton John, this and that. Fuck, what a lineup. This is sick. This is a good lineup. People are going to be happy with this. And then, of course, there had to be some people out there that were like, man, there's not enough female representation. It's like, I can't believe this shit, man. Like, I am in a band with a female vocalist, like female-led band. And I didn't even look at that and go, what the fuck? You know? Anyway.
Yes.
Whether it's about Catholicism or whether it's not about Catholicism, who cares? We're talking about the show. I couldn't care less if someone was offended. I couldn't care less if that was the overtone of the message. There has been a lot of things that are about Catholicism. I mean, it's not exactly about Catholicism, but were people complaining about Red State?
No.
Were people complaining about The Exorcist?
People complaining about Jim Jones?
Like, The Exorcist, dude, has someone masturbating with a crucifix. And people are going to give this a hard time. Fuck out of here. I hate this world sometimes, you know? I really do.
Yes. But, I mean, that aside, and I digress. It was a good episode, and he was. No, I'm gonna go back to that for 1 second. How many fucking things out there, even in history, like Catholicism is a massive, massive part of Western culture. It gets perverted. It happens throughout history. And the message there has got nothing to do with good people that practice this religion. It's someone perverting it to lead a cult.
It's not even, exactly. So it's not done to offend people that are Catholic. It's done to show someone abusing Catholicism, which has happened in history multiple times and, like, has been used. You talk. Fuck this dog. You talk.
Didn't like what you were saying. Is Lucky a cat? Is she offended? Haha. Yes. I get you now. Yeah. Yes. I think that's all I really have to say about it. It had some good action. It had some good developing moments. It was one of the stronger episodes. But I would give this episode a solid 44.
44.
Yeah.
What did I give it? I think, was it a 39?
You gave it... I'll get my handy dandy...
So look, we'll just quickly bring up the scoreboard from last week. And then we'll bring up the scoreboard from this week. Yeah?
Yeah.
So as of last week, our scores were this.
You gave it 47 and I gave it 46.
Yeah, so the scores as of last week were episode 5 at number 1 with 98, episode 8 at number 2 with 93, Episode 4 at number 3 with 86. Episode 2 at number 4 with 85. Episode 1 at number 5 with 81. Episode 6 at episode 6, right? Yeah, at 79.
Yeah.
Episode 7 at number 7, and episode 3 at number 8. I mean, look, that might seem a little weird to people because a lot of people love that third episode. Again, we really liked the message. We really liked what it delivered. We just didn't think it really added much to the narrative of the actual story too much. You know what I mean?
Sorry, go ahead.
It was just about two characters that really had no, like, I think I get it. I get it more now because they were trying to show like what it is outside, like what it is for everybody, not just Ellie and Joel. Like everyone has different circumstances and all that. But I still felt like it was just not what we wanted from the show. What I wanted from the show anyway. You know what I mean? And it's nothing to do with the message. The message was great, and we support seeing like different sexual preferences and choices and things like that. We don't care about that sort of thing. Whatever you want to do is whatever you want to do. And we support you. So it's nothing to do with that aspect either. It was an episode that I felt didn't really go far.
I agree. And I think being that it was a very short series, 9 episodes, there was no place for filler. Like, I think one of my problems with the series is it wasn't fleshed out enough. And I think a lot of people said the same thing. And I've seen a lot of people actually say, the Left Behind episode is so unnecessary because it's filler and it's just backstory for Ellie. But they like episode 3. And, I mean, to each in their own, but I do not get that.
See, I feel like the Left Behind episode had more relevance because it was actually a part that you played in the game. It was actually a part of the story. And I think that
developed Ellie.
It developed Ellie's character more. So you got more of an understanding of what she was like is it previous to the events of The Last of Us? Yeah. So, like, it developed the main character, which is exactly what we want. We want to see development of those characters. That's, I think, the biggest difference between the Left Behind episode and number 3. You know what I mean? Again, not diminishing what number 3 did, because, again, like, this series overall has been pretty, like, consistent. You know what I mean? It's pretty good. It's a good show. Again,
it has the goodery.
Again, it's not my favorite show ever. It's not something I'm hanging out to watch. And it's just because I'm not a big Last of Us fan, But again, it's done well. I love that PlayStation did it well. HBO did it well. Neil Druckmann did it well. So with that, let's bring up the scoreboards, which for the finale episode, as well as an overall average that we give the whole series as one thing. So that is here. We now have episode 5 at number 1 with 98. Episode 8 at number 2 with 93. Episode 4 with an 86. Episode 2 with 85. Episode 9 and an 83. Episode 1 at 81. Episode 6, 79. Episode 7 at 69. And episode 3 at 63. That's all 9 episodes. And that equals out to an average series score of 81.88. So an 81.8 is, I guess, what you'd want to put it as on the scale. Yeah. 88. Whatever. Yeah, exactly. Whatever. Yeah. So basically, we gave this series a really fucking good go. I think we were fair. I don't think we sucked its dick too hard. You know what I mean? I don't think we talked shit on it. Like, I think we were very fair about this series. Like, there was nothing that me and ALANNIS hated about this show. There was not one moment in the show where me and ALANNIS were like, oh, that sucked. You know what I mean?
If you know either of us, not even just in the show, but just in general, we love to tear shit down when we don't like it. Like, as people off camera as well. If we don't like something, it's very well known. Like,
that's what I mean, man. Is like anyone that finds a problem with like how we've scored at this or how we've talked about the show, we want you to realize that like we've been so fair with this show. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't hate on any of it. We loved a lot of it. We think it's a great show. It's just not something we're like about. You know what I mean? And as ALANNIS said, we are the ones to tear things down very quickly, just because we think it's fun. But we also like to give praise when praise is due. And this series definitely deserves the praise it gets. It's done well. And for people that love The Last of Us, this is everything you want. Now, I want to talk quickly about what's going to happen season 2 and what we can expect going forward. Because, spoiler alert, I did not expect this episode, the last one, to end where it did. What about you?
I thought it was gonna. Well, I have no idea about the in between. I knew where the first game ended. I didn't know where it started, what the middle point was, and I didn't endeavor to learn about it while I was watching. So I'm like, no, I'm going to treat this as the entry point for this, the start of the story. Like I know a fair bit about the second game, but not heaps about this one. But from what I heard from yourself and other people, that there could and should have probably been a bit more to it. There are people saying episode Left Behind 6 or 7. That shouldn't have been there because there's more room for other stuff. There's people that saying episode 3 shouldn't be there. It's more room for more stuff. Like I'm saying, from my point of view, I would have liked to see some more episodes, maybe even dragged out because there was some not zombies.
That's the thing about this, man, is like I felt like they could have drawn it out and made it go for longer and sort of follow the original game more and ended where they did. Because spoiler alert, it ends where the first game ends, and that's weird because like just an episode or 2 episodes ago, me and Alan were like, we can't see this ending where it is because we felt like they left a lot on the table as far as content wise from the first game. So I was not expecting it. I was like, man, it would be cool if it ends where the first game does and they pick up, or it'd be cool if they even go further into The Last of Us Part 2 and end there. You know what I mean? At that point that I'm not going to spoil just yet for a lot of people, but yeah, there's a point in that game where things turn very differently, and it would have been kind of cool if that's where the season ended as well, you know? But I do feel like they left a lot on the table content-wise. I do feel like we should have probably had a couple more episodes because I do feel like if they're going to go follow Last of Us Part 2, which we've already heard they're not going to follow it exactly verbatim how the game went, like how long are we actually going to have Joel stick around?
And it's funny as well when they've, I mean, they've got, 5-10 years in between Part 1 and Part 2. I think they're going to flesh out there and they're going to build up, whatever her name is, Muscle Lady.
It's
Abby.
Annie.
Abby?
It's
Abby.
Yeah, whatever, man. Like right now, I can't even.
Yeah, it's Jeff.
Yeah. Abby.
Jeff. Who?
Abby. Abby's her name.
It's interesting as well because like within hours of the last episode ending, you see these IGN articles and pop culture news sites going almost backpedaling for HBO, going, the next season will have more infected. The next season won't be just Part 2 in its entirety. It's like,
that's weird, man.
You should have done this a little different, HBO. Like,
that's what I mean. I still feel like they left a lot on the table content-wise, and that's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Is that like while they did a good job and while it was very feasible and fan service, like they did a great job. It just definitely, like, dude, that's a 13-hour game, like 14-hour game, dwindled down to like what 10? I know it's 10 hours or whatever, but they really didn't like hit every story beat. I almost feel like they didn't.
There's an hour and 20 minutes of created story there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm worried about with the second one, is they've said that they're not going to tell it exactly how it goes down in the second game, and it's going to be his own TV series. But like, does that mean we're gonna get the whole Joel and Ellie thing spread out for way longer over? Does that mean we're not gonna get Joel dying in The Last of Us Part 2 second season? You know what I mean? Like, if it's not following it, or are we gonna get that as the cliffhanger for season 3? You know what I mean?
Or are we going to get that as... And I don't know, it's interesting. Like, when's the next game slated to be, like... Is it even in pre-development now?
No, what they're working on right now is they're working on a thing called The Last of Us Factions, which is like the online multiplayer component to The Last of Us. Now, a lot of people love the online component that they put in The Last of Us for the original release and shit like that. And they're trying to build on that. And what we've been finding out slowly is I think it's going to be more of like okay, this doesn't come from me. I better give it credit because I'm sick of people saying, oh, you just took that from that show or whatever. But this is just what I've heard. This comes from Sacred Symbols, Colin Moriarty. He said that from what he gathers from what he's read and stuff. And this guy's, he was lead editor of PlayStation at IGN. Like now he's Sacred Symbols, PlayStation biggest podcast in the world. He said that from what he reads what they've said about it, that it's going to be like a full-blown Last of Us story, co-op, like It Takes Two, like A Way Out, like those style games where you're helping each other do these puzzles or get through or shoot through swarms of zombies while there is a narrative. Now, I'm hoping that's the case because they've been working on this Last of Us factions for since Last of Us Part 2 was released, and they have said it's coming. But I wonder if it is going to be that story heavy or if it is going to be more just a co-op experience. Because the thing that's thrown everyone through a loop is that the statement they released said it's a game you can enjoy with you and a friend, singular, not friends. So it's not like online like The Division. It's singular, friend, and that's very purposeful. You wouldn't say you can enjoy it with a friend if you can enjoy it with multiple friends. You would say friends. You know what I mean? You have to be very like sure about what you're saying with every word when you're making an announcement like this so that people don't read between the lines. You want people to know exactly what they're getting when they read a statement. So when you read a statement that says to experience by you and a friend, that means it's co-op. It's not Battle Royale. It's not on games of a service, which we're hoping it's not. You know what I mean? So right now there is no Last of Us Part 3, and Neil Druckmann has said that he's happy to make a Last of Us Part 3. But if they have a story that they feel like they can tell, and I'm telling you right now, The Last of Us is becoming such a cash machine, they'll find a story.
Yeah. There's no way they will not make that game.
We're going to definitely be getting Last of Us factions. We're yet to get a date announced for that, but I'm wondering what's going to happen with Part 3 because, as I said, I wasn't the biggest fan of Part 2. And I know that divides a lot of PlayStation fans. I think I like the first one more. I just think the second one was a bit too long and a little bit too dreary the entire time. Just too down, just too depressing. Like, there was no let up in that game, where it was sort of like a little lighthearted or whatever. So I'm really interested to see where they take second season. I mean, do you think we're going to get a whole nother season with Pedro Pascal as Joel? And then do you think we'll have him die off sort of as the cliffhanger for Part 3, Season 3 on HBO? Or do you think that they'll do that early on and sort of continue that sort of branch that they have with The Last of Us Part 2?
I reckon we'll get at least another season out of him because he's money.
And he's popular. And he does a great job as Joel. And I guess if there was 5-year gap between the games and they didn't show that between, they do have a lot of room to work with. You know what I mean? Kind of. If they do want to tell sort of story on its own of what happened in between the games, I can see them having enough. 5 years is a long time. You know what I mean? So
there's a lot of room to develop Jeff as well.
Yeah.
Abby.
Jeff. What?
Franklin.
Oh my God. So what does this give you hope going forward for video game movie releases? Oh, well, video game TV show adaptations or movie releases?
If HBO are doing them, I have hope, but there's also a long, painful history of trash. More trash than good. So, I mean, I hope people take note here, but I don't know if they will. There's always those people that are going to go, you know what would be cool? And it's never cool.
Dude, they've got more. I think PlayStation right now have got more announcements in the pipeline for TV adaptations and movie adaptations than they actually do any games.
I'm surprised or is there something to do with Horizon coming? Because I feel that would be really cool.
They've already announced that they're working on a Horizon show. They're also working on a Twisted Metal show, which nobody asked for. Do you remember what Twisted Metal is?
It was a car racing game, wasn't it?
Yeah, a demolition derby game where you've got Sweet Tooth or whatever, the fucking clown and shit. You know what I mean? So they're making that. They're making a God of War.
I can see will work.
Sorry?
That would work. That makes...
Will it though? Because God of War is very outlandish, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Think about how tall Kratos is. Who the fuck are they going to get to play Kratos? Don't give me The Rock, because that's not a good answer.
Andre the Giant. And we need necromancers or a time machine.
I don't know, man. I just think that some of these properties need to stay games.
I'll play Kratos.
Fucking yeah, right. I'll play Atreus then.
Well,
So, like, man, doesn't
yeah, we got the cast.
doesn't this like kind of annoy you though that the show is like fantastic, which is great for everybody involved, including us in PlayStation fans. Doesn't it annoy you though that that's what we got shafted with Uncharted?
Yeah. Actually, that's who can play Kratos. Tom Holland.
Man, they'll get him to play anyone these days. You know what I'm saying? No, Chris Pratt. Mushroom Kingdom.
Tom Holland voiced by Chris Pratt. Let's go.
Let's go. I don't know, man. I just think that games, to me, games have more weight to them than movies, TV. I believe they have more of an effect and impact on people. And I think that's simply because of the way you interact with games and the sort of the amount of work and time you have to actually put into a game to see an outcome rather than just sit there and watch a fucking thing till it's end credits, you know? So like you get a lot more roped into the characters, you get a lot more roped into the story, you feel a lot more a part of it. You don't want it to end when it's really good. Whereas with movies, I've never been in a movie where I'm like, I hope this never ends. Like I still feel like there always needs to be an ending. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean with these games to movies or whatever. It's like I still feel like they need to come to an end at some point. Whereas some games I've sat there and been like, man, I wish this would never end, like Red Dead 2. Like when you played Red Dead 2, weren't you disappointed when it ended?
Yeah. Speaking of which, I have to finish the epilogue of that.
I
I
don't
got
know.
depressed by replaying and went,
I don't know if I finished the epilogue either. No, I didn't. I got to do that too. I see, that's the problem with the epilogue of that game. On a side note, is that like once Arthur's dead and you become like John Marsden, like it almost feels like you're done before it's done. You know, you're like, okay, so we're at the end. And then suddenly it's like, no, you've still got like 4 hours, whatever, you know?
I get to play a guy I know is going to die anyway.
Only reason I wanted to get to that point in the game again, like for a second time, was so that I could go find that cabin that just explodes out of nowhere. And I found it, and it was awesome. I just walked, like riding my horse up to it, and the shed just blows. Some cunt cooking fucking, what is it?
Moonshine.
Moonshine, yeah, not meth, but moonshine.
Yeah.
Cowboy meth, you know. So ALANNIS, again, we'll bring up the scores, and we will kind of wrap up this with a final sort of like, yeah, I'll just say we'll wrap it up with a wrap up each. You know what I mean? So again, this is our score. Average score for the whole series is an 81.88 out of 100. There's all the scores for each episode individually, which we round out from 50 points each. As you can see, episode 3 is at the lowest with 63. And again, I want to make it clear, it's because we felt it didn't bring anything to the story except maybe add a little bit more weight to what the world is actually like around Joel and Ellie. So ALANNIS, you give us a quick wrap up of your summary of the whole thing.
I think, well, from someone that hasn't played the game and didn't know heaps about the story of the first game, I wanted more zombies. Well, I wanted more not zombies.
I definitely felt that, man. I definitely felt like there wasn't, like, that's what I mean by, like, they left a lot of content on the table because, yeah, I know they draw a game out more and they're like, okay, so it's a lot more walking, it's a lot more taking cover, it's a lot more throwing things. It takes a lot more time to get through scenes than it would in a TV show if you were to present them that way. But I still feel as if it didn't have as big an impact because we didn't see as much of the journey. It felt like the journey was a lot shorter than the game actually presents, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And it also lacked a lot of other things that differentiate them from being zombies. Like, I'm sure, at least in the second game, you have to have a gas mask and bits because it's like you can breathe in spores which can infect you or whatever. It feels weird they didn't have that when they like it's a not zombie show. Like it's a zombie show, but it's a not zombie show, and it's weird that they didn't draw that line and kind of maximizing that as well. And it also feels weird that, like, I don't know, that suddenly the zombies are going to be more of a present thing next season. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird too because like I almost felt like in Last of Us Part 2, the infected and the clickers and stuff were sort of a lot less in my book. Like you saw a lot less of them. I'm not sure if that's just me remembering it wrong or if that's me like remembering it how it actually is, you know? But I do feel like the story focus on Part 2 is a lot more on Ellie's revenge than it is about the clickers and like what's happened to the world, which is I feel like the first one has a lot more to do with. You know what I mean? How would you feel with that sort of?
I wouldn't know too much with the first one, but I felt that the second one, from what I saw played, was very person orientated. Like it was. I don't think I've seen heaps of Ellie's part of the game, more so Jeff's. But
Jeff Chan.
but yeah, there's more. There's a lot more human on human violence and drama, and who's the bad guy here? Fluff.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Is that like I'm glad that you got that at the end of this episode too, which is like you're left wondering if Joel is the bad person or the good person at the end of this, like because what he kind of did is like selfish at the end of this episode, but also what would you do if you were in his shoes?
Yeah. Does
Like-
that get touched on? Like, that'll have to be touched on in the second game. That can just be a void.
Dude, that's why he gets killed.
No, I mean like, but that's going to affect his relationship with Ellie, though. Like, he didn't.
She didn't know. She doesn't find out for ages. Like, I'm pretty sure that she doesn't find out for. I can't remember if the game starts out where she knows already and she found out and it's been a rough like go and they're like trying to like mend things or whatever. But yes, she does find out and it does affect their relationship. But I do believe that it gets sort of like forgotten about, and you know, like Ali sort of like gets over and is like, well, it is what it is kind of thing. And they build that community up, and then you know they're doing watches, and that's when Joel they get caught in the storm and blah blah blah. We all know what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
I'm still very shocked that it ended where it did.
Yeah, it felt like it was a few hours before watching the episode that I was actually talking to people going, it's not going to end at the end of the game. I watched the episode.
I think they would, man, because I just felt like, as I said, there was so much left, you know. But when I do think long and hard, maybe with the story beats, maybe there wasn't a lot left, you know. Maybe it was just spread out a lot more because of how long the game is and how the gameplay works and how there's a lot of stealth and you're sneaking around and you can't just go from point A to point B like you can in a TV show. You have to actually, like, if you're watching behind ALANNIS right now, you know, like you're like helping Ali climb up the ladder. Ali's bringing it down. Like these are all very long moments. You know what I mean? Like look at this. You know, like it's so slow. So like a game, of course, will probably drag it out and make it seem longer. But as I said, that makes the journey more like impactful for me. Anyway, you know what I mean? Like I feel like the longer the journey, the more you feel the ending. And I felt like that maybe that's what this kind of lacked, is that the journey didn't seem all that long.
No. And yeah, I mean it was 9 episodes. It needed to be longer, I think, with what they set out to do and how they did it. And it wasn't perfect, but nothing is. Nothing is, I guess.
No, definitely not. So, I mean, how do you feel about completing your first season of Televerse Reviews with The Last of Us?
I feel accomplished.
What are we going to do from here on with Televerse Reviews? Because we've been throwing ideas around, and like, there's nothing major that's coming up that I feel is worth like The Last of Us, like stature sort of thing. You know what I mean? Which is kind of why we began this show in the first place. Like, there's nothing like Gravity, like wise that people are waiting on. Like, there's more movies out there, I feel, that people are like hanging for than there is TV shows coming up. You know what I mean? So like, what do we do? Are we doing something fun? Are we doing something different? You know?
It's a good question. What is there? Is there? I don't know. What should we do?
I wanted you to do Chernobyl, and you said you got bored of it.
I need to give that another shot. It's
another great HBO show, and you know what? I rate Chernobyl more than this show, even though I do like this show.
Yeah.
Chernobyl is fantastic, man, because it's like the amount of cover up, the amount of fucking shit, dude. Like the amount of like damage, the pollution, the shit that they have to go through, like how people could like only stay on the roof for 30 seconds at a time and run out, get a brick with a shovel and fucking throw it into the pit and run back. And they're like, all right, you're done for the day. Because that was the radiation. You know what I mean? Like, dude, it's fucking fascinating. But if you can't get through the first episode, there's a problem there. I don't know, man. Like, and I don't want to just do something for the point of it. Like, I feel like it should be something relevant. I mean, we tried to do Scream. Listen, everybody, we tried to review the Scream television series. And we're telling you now, that is not going forward. We did one episode and we couldn't bring ourselves to watch the rest because it was a chore. And we don't want anything that we do to feel like a chore. You know what I mean? Like, we want this to be fun. And I'm not sitting through Scream, the TV series, bro. That first episode was so bad, dude. Dude, it gets a 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb.
That boggles my mind.
Dude, it's higher than half the movies. It's higher than the first movie. In score.
No.
What the fuck is wrong with people? Who the fuck thought the Scream TV series was better than the original 1996 movie? If you're watching this, raise your hand, because fuck me, that's horrible, man. Not even the same mask, not even the same tone. Ugh, horrible. MTV. Horrible!
Bad.
What about we do something fun? What about we do Beavis and Butthead, the new series?
Yeah. I feel we do that because that was a good time.
The only problem is we want the t-shirts.
Yeah.
I think we ordered the t-shirts and we did Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
So we're going to go get the Metallica and the AC/DC t-shirt each and wear them on the review.
I think we need to do this.
For sure. I'll go the blue one, Beavis's.
Yep.
Because I don't think blue would suit you, mate.
No.
All right, let's end this stream, everyone. So, everyone, we gave the whole season of The Last of Us Part 2, at least Part 1, sorry, 81.88 out of 100, which is really high. If it's not high enough for you, we apologize.
Yep.
Let's end this.
Yes. I have been your host. And this has been my co-host, Tomye. You've been you, and thank you for watching if you watched. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we will come back to you with another show.
Yeah, if it's not Beavis and Butthead, it'll be something else, but you can forget it's Scream.
Yeah.
No way. No way.
Nope.
Nope.
Yes.
Mushroom Kingdom, here we come. I think you need to come up with a new graphic now.
I do. I remember using it, aren't I?
Hey, that's cool, man. You know me. I'm all about overusing things. You know what I mean? Like, whether it be my flashlight, that thing's been overused, man. It's battered. I don't actually own a flashlight. If anyone wants to send me one that's not used, feel free.
Slightly used. Contact
me with your details and I can give you my address and you can send me a flashlight, and I'll give it a go and I'll give you my honest opinion. And also, if you guys want to get 20% off this GIMP suit with cock, comes with cock accessory, just go follow this QR code and yeah, you'll get 20% off this cock GIMP suit.
Or contact Jesus, care of the Pentagon.
Let's get out of here.
You need God.
Let's get out of here before we say something that's really going to irk some people. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you on the next Televerse Reviews. Don't forget, we have our Scream 6 review up right now. Go check it out. We have all Ghost Faces ranked. Go check it out. We have some classic ranked and reviewed Scream episodes up. Go check it out. There's going to be more coming out too. And we also have the Mario review coming up very soon, which we are seeing in 3D, 4DX, and will be fun. We are also doing what's next in Ranked and Reviewed, like goes live until we get to Goes Hell. We got Mario, we got
Guardians is early May.
We got the Flash, we got Guardians of the Galaxy, we got heaps.
Man, many things. Many things.
Before we go, did you see Suicide Squad, the game? What happened?
I have not.
Bro, Rocksteady came out of the PlayStation conference, showed off Suicide Squad, the game, and they're like, here's our new game, Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. It had that much of a bad backlash, they've delayed it unforeseeable. Like, they don't know what to do. Like, dude, this game has been in production since 2013 when Arkham Knight or whatever came out. This is from the same people that gave us the awesome Arkham Knight series. You know what I mean? And they've gone to this Fortnite clone, Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League looking game, and they revealed it, and it got such bad backlash. IGN held a poll. Who's excited? Yes or no? 69% said no.
Wait, who did Gotham Knights? Was that That wasn't Rocksteady as well.
Warner Brothers.
Ah.
They made Arkham Origins as well.
Oh, there you go.
Rocksteady made all the other ones, and this new game looks fucking trash. It's horrible, man. I am so happy they're delaying it, but also don't see what they're going to do in that amount of time. You know what I mean? Like, what, are you going to delay it another 2 years and come up with a whole different story and then fit it all in this one Fortnite thing you've done? You know, like, I don't get it. I don't know, man. Too late to come up with a fucking game now. I think you're just going to have to put it out and accept it. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go before Alan gets all upset and dirty on the fact that the Ninja Turtles now look like this.
Why is Michelangelo white bandana thing in that?
Is that even him, though? That's what I want to know.
Is that? I'm pretty sure. I feel it looks like the female from the live action show.
I don't know, man, but it definitely looks like this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
All right. Let's get the fuck out of here. See you later, guys.
Farewell.